Today on the Topping Show, Matt Walsh notes that American elections are being influenced by tribal feuds in Africa, while 100-year-old British World War II veteran cries on TV saying that it wasn't worth it as the UK continues to decay and become a totalitarian hellhole. Gold's Gym kicks out a woman who is not happy that a man was changing in the woman's locker room, or dealers to revamp and look more like Apple stores, and Toyota recalls 127,000 trucks and SUVs because, whoops, the engine might self-destruct. All of that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of the Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency IT security. Heck, so your founder at least twice a day, guys. He's quite handsome and brilliant. Ease me, see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or business owner, reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, still giving away a free flamethrower with every IT purchase with Picatinny rail adapters that can mount it to any standard AR-15, like all awesome accessories can be. Go to toppingtechnologies.com and click the flamethrower button to learn more and see me shooting a flamethrower. And lastly, trying to get to 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button and tell your friends and your enemies, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Ford to have their dealers look more like Apple stores, which, considering some of their trucks cost $100,000 plus, perhaps that does warrant it. Now, this brought us thanks to Brian Hurd, who's a writer at thedrive.com, and they say, quote, Ford's new dealership design is part of hotel lobby, part Apple store. Say Subaru went LL Bean, Ford would probably like us to say they're aiming for Apple store, but we're getting more Hobby Lobby. How dare you? That is an insult to the great establishment of the Oklahoma-based Hobby Lobby. This looks more like a soulless Apple store. Or what else could that look like? A boring dentist? No, some dentists are cool. I don't want to be too pejorative on that industry, be a dentite, heaven forbid. But yeah, if you're just watching or listening on the Spotify, which I mispronounced because I think it's funny, and not watching on Rumble, which is awesome, or YouTube, which is evil, it is really weird to see the Ford logo. It's been carved into the table, but there's no blue oval, which is, again, what everyone knows in terms of brand recognition. Obviously, it's the same trademarked font, but yeah, it is really weird just to see it carved into the wooden table or counter. But yeah, it almost looks like an upscale coffee shop too. Lots of glass, light wood, flowers, a Ford dealership. And yeah, it looks all right, I guess. Now, again, credit to Brian Hurd. They say, quote, the automobile industry looks like it's trying to reinvent itself in the world of autonomous mobility, whatever that means. Car makers are likewise exploring new ways to attract customers into the dealerships. Just recently, Subaru rolled out a plan that looks like they're going full LL Bean, which makes perfect sense for the outdoorsy crowd. Ford, meanwhile, is aiming for something a bit less lifestyle and a bit more Silicon Valley. Which, yeah, looks like it. Maximize that picture right there. It looks like a tech bar, or like one of those places where you can, like a shared workspace area. Oh, weird. I would say Ford would probably be happy if I likened their design to that of a certain tech branch that started with the letter A. But what we're getting here is more of a please enjoy your stay. They then write this way to the geniuses. Ford is reinforcing the notion with the first of 4 core principles defined in the new retail experience, hospitality first. The new showroom design is split between traditional office space and what is Ford calling hospitality spaces, or open conference center style rooms that can accommodate interactive displays, leisure areas, or collaboration spaces. Even dealerships have meetings, right? Which will be interesting to see. Yeah, how are you negotiating a car doing the Foursquare? God, those things will, those damn things. Imagine doing a Foursquare between a panel of glass and you see the other person. Yeah, that's weird. You'll be able to, I mean, the acoustics alone are going to be terrible. But nevertheless, they say, quote, it does look nice, I'll admit, and it turns out I've already seen it in person. Ford just now officially unveiled the looks and called it Ford Signature 2.0, but Ford already has a functional demo, including an oversized refreshment bar. It is placed in this experience center in Dearborn, which that's where they are headquartered. When I visited earlier this year, the hotels / conference center vibe just hit a note that Ford is aiming for. Ford will open 10 of these 2.0 stores at the end of 2025. It hopes to bring in another 110 stores online nationwide, or worldwide, by the end of 2026. Which, as weird and funky as this looks, I understand probably where they're going for this. These are probably going to be in Beverly Hills areas, like high-fluent areas. I mean, I grew up in the Midwest. I mean, if a bunch of farmers and I saw this, we'd laugh at them derisively. Imagine a farmer coming in, and they don't all have mud on their boots. But again, working men aren't suiting up to buy a car. They're going there to buy a piece of machinery, a piece of business material. And I don't know, to me, I mean, I would just feel so awkward if I were in that. It wouldn't feel, it actually wouldn't feel comfortable. I don't think they're going to build these in Iowa. As much as I love Iowa, it just doesn't pass the vibe check, I want to say. Now, again, if you're purchasing a, $200,000 Ford Mustang GTD Banana Falcon, I'm purposely derisively butchering the name because it only comes with an automatic transmission, which is an abomination. But nevertheless, you're spending six figures on a Ford vehicle, and they're trying to cater to that top audience, which is more profitable per unit when they're selling those things like the Ford F-350, 450, 550 Banana Falcon that cost, again, as much as a house, well, a house in Iowa. Yeah, I can understand the upscale environment. Looks like they got a nice cappuccino espresso machine, which those things cost more than a car in some cases, though I don't think it's as crazy as a Lamborghini dealership espresso machine that's like 35 grand, which, geez Louise, I can't imagine that much for a fancy beans pressed through water. But nevertheless, it looks like a pretty fancy spot. You got, a couple of fridges. It looks like it's probably, the honor system in terms of, taking beverages. So these will, probably be in high trust areas of society, pollutant areas, pinky high areas of the world or the U.S. And it might help bring in the higher end clientele as Ford is trying to compete more and more with these luxury brands. And it's funny because personally, I think Ford is more luxurious than Lincoln, which again, that's their luxury brand, their division, their car company that they own. I mean, for years, they also had Mercury as well, and other brands like Aston Martin. But I mean, it's one of those things where there's a reason that I think they're investing more and more into Ford because they know that brand is better. And this seems like a high skill Ford, dealership. Interestingly enough, they didn't bother even doing Lincoln with this. Because again, Lincoln is supposedly a luxury brand, which is, how GM has Cadillac, or General Motors has Cadillac more specifically, or, spelling it out for you. It's interesting that they didn't bother doing this for Lincoln because I think they know that brand is just not strong enough alone to invest a dedicated, expensive, high-fluent dealership like this. Even when you see Lincoln in general in terms of the dealerships, they usually have a couple of things attached to it. But again, I think this is a smart move by Ford. It'll cost them a prepaying to do this remodeling. Again, for those higher end clientele where they're spending, usually, six figures plus in a Mustang or, Ford F-150 Banana Falcon, whatever trim level you go with. I think it's a pretty good idea. I think it'll probably bear fruit long term. But let me know your thoughts because, as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the cultural part of the podcast, you have a woman irate at Gold's Gym because there was a guy, again, in the girls' locker room. Now, I was going to say, cover your ears if you have trouble listening because the gal in the video is very bombastic, uses a lot of very vulgar language. And so, again, it's not child appropriate. Now, this is posted thanks to Gays Against Groomers, hashtag against groomers, GRMRS. And they say, quote, this brave woman got kicked out of Gold's Gym because she complained about men in the women's locker room. Memberships there start as young as 12 with a parent and 16 alone. Women and girls need single-sex spaces. We stand with you. Hashtag listen to Tish. Her name is Tish Hyman, Hyman. And it's originally credited to Bubble Bath Girl on X. And usually I don't like when people, and Paul Zazupa, I usually don't like when people are so loud and obnoxious and bombastic in public, but I don't think enough people realize how big of an issue this is. So you know what? Actually, I appreciate what she says here. So she looks like she's in the Gold's Gym lobby. She's going to sound off.
Gold's Gym! Men! Grown men with big dicks in the women's locker room!
This looks like a really bad Celsius commercial. It's kind of funny because she's holding the can perfectly so you can see the logo exactly prominently in her hand, which obviously is not, but...
And that's why I'm getting kicked out, and I want to make sure the girls know! The fuck? Everybody saw that man in the fucking locker room. No one saying shit. And I'm fucking done with it. It's fucking stupid. It's dangerous. Me naked in front of a man without my permission. But I ain't the one who gets kicked out the gym, y'all. I'm terminated for not wanting men in the locker room. And that goes.
Yep. And we're pretty volatile on social media. It's got 605,000 views and 10,000 likes. And yeah, it's getting especially hard. I was about to say in the women's locker room. That wasn't intended to be a pun, but these days, yeah, some are not appropriate. But it's an instance where for a gal who wants to work out, you kind of because of the industry consolidation, you kind of have a triopoly. United States especially, I mean, it's a very cutthroat industry. Usually make majority of their profits in a couple months, usually New Year's resolutions. And because of that, there's basically three major gyms in the United States. You have Gold's Gym, which went bankrupt they got sold off from TRT Holdings, so they're still technically based in Texas. Well, I'm sorry, Texas, but they're owned by a European gym conglomerate. So you have Gold's Gym, you have LA Fitness, and then you have Planet Fitness. Each of those gyms have the same corporate policy that is, mandated to all the individual stores or gyms, whatever you want to call them. And they say, yeah, guys are allowed to be in women's locker rooms where women and young girls are. And they're allowed to change in front of them and shower in front of them. It's disgusting. They should be put in jail if you're changing in front of a child. It's ridiculous. And these companies are so dedicated to these policies. LA Fitness, they actually have a placard, high quality plastic. Don't get me wrong. They have a colored placard on the doors that say, "This is our policy. You can go wherever door you feel like." This isn't just a 2-cent piece of printer paper that some manager put on there. This is from the corporate office. They invested in high quality plastic signs. That's not a 2-cent item. They put that in all their stores. And in terms of independent gyms, there are a couple mom and pop shops. I'm always a big fan of supporting local businesses. So if you have a local business or a local gym, I highly recommend supporting them. But in a lot of towns, a lot of small towns, Planet Fitness is the only option, which is the joke of a gym in terms of they yell at you if you even try to work out. Can't make noise. Heaven forbid you make noise when you're trying to lift a weight. Ridiculous, obviously. But again, in some towns, there's not an alternative. And I know a lot of folks, you can get a lot of health benefits from doing calisthenics or just, using your own body weight with chin-ups, push-ups, sit-ups, and what have you. But if you want to use some of those machines, which, again, there's some good machines there, you're going to want to go to a gym. And they all have these policies now. All of them. And I'm glad she's spelling out because I don't think the average person realizes that most of these gyms have these policies. Like Planet Fitness, they actually just have it like as a paragraph in the training manual. It's not always posted on the door. Planet Fitness also had a commercial that they actually comfortably said to someone, "Hey, oh yeah, you can go in that room if you want." And there was someone that looked like non-binary, and they're like, "Really? Do I?" It was more awkward than in a conversation with me, which is saying something. And yeah, I think the average person, I'm glad that she's yelling because I don't think the average person realizes it. And again, I think it's just disgusting that if you want to change it for a child, some of these guys are just doing it because it's their kink. That's ridiculous. And I know it's 2025, you're not supposed to kink shame. Kids are involved? Yeah, that's disgusting. You shouldn't be allowed to do that. You should be, but again, from a legal perspective, all these gyms, it's a privately owned business. They're doing what they want. And the market has not destroyed them yet. They're all, many of them are publicly traded. They're doing well enough. And again, it's not really a lot of opportunity for alternative ways to go to, or places to go to the gym. Now, one of the first comments comes to us thanks to somebody by the name of Palace Lafayette. Says, quote, She is literally every single woman that's sick of this, getting 2.1 thousand likes. Though, again, that being said, the average person who agrees to those policies, on average, liberal white women. Again, most guys are against it. I don't know. I think I have one liberal friend who is okay with the washing room thingamajig. And that's just the bathroom swapping, whatever. And even he is against the locker room instances where you're changing. But again, I wonder if this person's ratioed. Again, she got 2.1 thousand likes. Ponder Mind says women have been told by men to sit down and shut up since the beginning of time. Now it's men in dresses. Our opinions and needs are second to men. What? Our opinions and needs are second to men. Women are again, has this become a political issue as well, since some states, and again, they're allowing this and encouraging, the bathroom sharing or, swapping. Again, women are the ones that are supporting it on average much more than men. That's why even in the sports, a lot of the women will still mindlessly get up and clap when a man steals a trophy away from a girl. I don't know. Guys don't agree with this stuff. Lisa says men should not be allowed to violate women's private spaces. We have fallen as a society because we care more about men who want to be women than respect actual women. Getting 8 likes. Well, 7. I made it 8. Here for their free napkins, which, not to be too much of a conspiracy theorist. However, napkins are a ripoff. They're just overpriced paper towels, half the size. Personally, I've never bought napkins, and I think I made it enough decades through life. I don't think I ever will. I will die on that hill. It's a useless thing, just an overpriced paper towel. Which again, just use a paper towel or use a washcloth or something like that. That's one of my weird soapbox things. I don't say that on the first dates usually. But nevertheless, someone by the name of Here for the Free Napkins says, quote, I quit Planet Fitness because of their love for troons hanging out in the ladies' locker room. Every time they emailed me to rejoin, I bait with a conversation and then ask if they stop letting trans in the locker room. And every single time, that's when they would stop replying. Gain 12, it's like a 13 likes. That's some fun trolling at the corporate level. Going back to the main comment section, you have Corn Pop, which a picture of Joe Biden. Come on, man. The locker rooms, the people and stuff. What? Might be the worst Biden impression here all year, but nevertheless, the attempt was made here. And he has a meme of the guy in the poofy jacket doing the no and the yes hand movement. It says no to the trans flag when it's rearranged, or the Nazi logo. It says yes when it's the rainbow flag, getting 62 likes. Yep. Which again, a lot of people who are gay are, they're vehemently against these types of things. That's why I think he separated the two flags, obviously. Going down more and more. Let's see. Bad Naomi says, circle up the girls. It says, in the wild, female elephants are known as fierce protectors. And when one of their sisters is suffering, they circle up around her, they close in tight, watch guard, and even kick dust around her to mask her. Vulnerable scent from predators. Yet here we are, and yet we are the same. This is who we are and who we are meant to be for each other. Sometimes we're the ones in the middle. Sometimes we're the ones kicking up dust from fierce love. The circle remains, getting 6 likes, which, as this woman, women in the United States are not that protective of each other, I don't think. But let me know in the comments. America Girl says, oh no, not the consequences of her own actions, anything but. And someone by the name of Susie McBears says, quote, stop it already, you MAGA nut. AOC would mop you away in the debates. She would destroy you. Stop exaggerating and lying, dignity girl. Oh, this is the gal who was screaming in the video. She responded, saying, quote, I'm not MAGA anything. I voted for Kamala. So you voted for a political party that encourages these types of things. She also says, quote, I'm a woman who is violated and humiliated and forced to be naked in front of a man in a woman's locker room, and I'm angry about it, and I'm going to do something about it right away. No one can debate my experience. Getting 28 likes. But you just admitted you voted for a political party whose whole ideology is men and women are exactly the same. They can switch genders, is all interchangeable. Like, you vote, and again, this is private business. Again, you voted for a political party where, again, the DNC conference, the headquarters, they're all about the transgender agenda. Has this become not just a cultural issue, but a political issue as well? So of course you would vote. You voted for this in a way. You also have the proud conservative saying, quote, the woman is the true victim here, not the delusional predatory man pretending to be a woman. Gain 20 likes. Kim says, quote, she said the most important part. This man seen her naked without her permission. That simply means she had no rights, no voice, no consent, no nothing, and they gave it to a man. The opposite of feminism. Gave 1.7 thousand likes, which, yeah, kind of funny how Democrats completely erase feminism because they erase the definition of what is a woman. Red Free American says, quote, well, we all know how to show Gold's Gym how we feel. Getting 10 likes. Which again, now that's the thing where I don't think this will hurt their sales at all. Because again, there's basically 3 gyms. I think you have Lifetime. If you're a millionaire, you can go to that fancy gym. That's like the 4th. They're not as large as the other chains, but every major competitor gym or competing gym has the same corporate policy. So you can quit Gold's Gym. But again, if you want to go to the 2 most popular alternatives, they have the exact same policies. You also have Little Bees says, quote, listen to Tish because I would sue Gold's Gym and the man. Gain 9 likes, which I don't know what kind of, again, that would debate, as it comes to politics and local laws, regulations, it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. Now, recently there was a man who was arrested at I believe it was also a Gold's Gym, or no, it was Planet Fitness. However, legally speaking, he was only arrested because he was allegedly taking pictures of women in the locker room, which again is illegal. Again, not enough people click that subscribe button. When I first started the show, I spoke fast on Ben Shapiro more awkwardly than Joe Biden trying to climb upstairs, and I had like 3 subscribers, maybe 4. But as I slowly but surely gain more subscribers, I've become slightly better at speaking. Granted, most people would say it's barely anything, though I would argue, statistically speaking, a lot better at speaking. This fuels my theory. The more people that click that button, the better I'll get at speaking and someday make it through an entire episode perfectly articulately. Which also reminds me, don't just tell your friends, tell your enemies. Your enemies might be so enamored and impressed by your choice in podcast material, they then become your friends. or they find my face and content photo so visually visceral and disgusting that they then become greater enemies and it becomes a physical altercation. So maybe I shouldn't recommend it. Either way, make for a funny story. So why not tell your friends and tell your enemies about the show? Now, what I was trying to say was, Lisa Timmons says, quote, Planet Fitness, another anti-woman gym, no judgment zones unless you're a woman. Getting 5 likes. Let's see. Keith says, whatever happened to indecent exposure laws? Getting 15 likes. Good question. Kelly Belau says, peep all the woke, tolerant cowards pretending they didn't notice her. In 19 likes. Jamie Mitchell says, more of this, getting 71 likes. Kiwi says, imagine a 16-year-old girl alone in the locker room with this man walks in. So that was as a man that was in the women's locker room. So it's a guy, a little bit of a beer belly. What is that? With sweatpants, and I forgot what the girls wear. The crop top workout thingamajig. I got 36 likes. Let's see. No More Silence UK says, quote, have you seen this woman trying to access the locker rooms? Is clearly a man, no effort to present as a female, just earrings slapped on and claim identify as a woman. That's all it takes now to demand entry into little girls and women's safe spaces. In 13 likes, which I don't even think you needed to do the earrings. Gold's Gym says basically do whatever you want. You can just say it, as some people have done and go viral on social media for proving the point. Alex Weaver says, it was this moment he realized he screwed up. I wish she could have kicked his ass. Getting 25 likes. There's a screenshot of the dude. I mean, that being said, I'm guessing this guy's more liberal than not. He'll probably get a promotion at work, depending on where he works. A lot of businesses are very much pro these types of ideologies. You also have Say No to Communism. Pretty good profile name. Says, quote, good for her. All the women should be doing the exact same thing. Getting 3 likes. But again, that's the issue. Most women support those things. I think that's why you don't see a lot of women raising a ruckus. Like I said earlier with the sports things. Someone by the name of Judith Rose says, quote, let's remember that not only is consent transferable, meaning only if a woman is okay with it, that doesn't mean all women have to be, but underage girls cannot consent at all. The invasion and blurring of single-sex spaces by trans-identified men is a threat to women and girls, and undermines everything we went through to earn our own public spaces under the social contract that men were not allowed. If gender isn't the same as sex, then stop using your identity to destroy single-sex spaces. Getting 87 likes. How do you do? Bug says, don't go to Gold's Gym. This is what you have to deal with in the ladies' locker room. Sick. Good for this lady for speaking up. Getting 39 likes. You also have, let's see here, JMJ, Kiri Ellison, Christy Ellison. A more long and awkward cumbersome name than myself, which is saying something. She says, quote, yes, that guy is not gay or he would be stalking the men's locker room to see some naked men. He's a predator. Getting 22 likes. Miranda says, the only person with balls in LA. Getting 33 likes. And again, depending on where this happens as well, again, being LA, one of those things where local people, if they're somehow become a legal issue, they wouldn't convict this guy. They would say he's brave and brilliant. They'd let him off the hook if any charges were to be brought, I would suspect. But, I mean, I don't think their sales are going to go down. But let me know, maybe they will, but let me know your thoughts, because, as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Going over to the Cultural Part podcast, or more Cultural Part podcast, you have Matt Walsh reacting to the recent Minneapolis elections, saying that elections are now being dictated by tribal blood feuds in Africa. Now, he's responding to someone by the name of Rerum Novarum / breaking news and alerts, and this individual is hashtag is official RN Intel, and he says, quote, a significant number of Somalians in Minneapolis didn't vote for ethnic Somali mayoral candidate Omar Fateh due to Fateh being part of the Darhoud clan rather than the Hawi'i. These deep-seated clan wars allowed Mayor Jacob Frey to rally key community leaders from the Hawaii clan to hold off a challenge from Fateh. Representative Ilan Omar, who endorsed Fateh and is part of the Daran clan, is reportedly the next target of the Hawaii community leaders, and they are emboldened by their proxy victory over Darude in the mayoral election. She could possibly face a primary challenge on tribal grounds. He got 3.7 million views. Now, Matt Walsh responded saying, quote, Americans' elections are now being based on the tribal blood feuds in Africa. And he got 1 million views and 20,000 likes, which, yeah, that is a fascinating thing and something our founding fathers couldn't have possibly comprehended. Again, we've had a lot of people imported. Again, some people are legally immigrating from Somalia to Minneapolis, so much so that the state of Minnesota, which I purposely mispronounced as a slight to that weak and conquered state, they rechanged their flag from a beautiful historic flag to one that looks like a bastardized version of the Somalian flag. Because again, that's what they're becoming. And it is crazy to think that, these types of blood feuds are affecting American politics. I'd also, and Matt Walsh has ranted about this before, but I'm more concerned about the fact that all these Somalian politicians, or, American politicians from Somalia, well, they're talking about how Somalia is their first priority openly when they're campaigning. They're also saying how, our goal is to help out our country, Somalia. As if our tax dollars aren't wasted enough on countries that most Americans can't point you on a map. We're $38 trillion in debt because of the ineptitudes and our corruption of Democrats and Republicans. I'm getting to the point where I say almost stop all foreign aid, every single one, to at least break even on the balance sheet, which I don't think that'll ever happen because, Jesus, we're spending more on the interest of the debt than we do on the actual defense budget, which people have ranted on for years about the defense budget being too much. And now it's to the point where, we spend more on the interest. Not even paying down the principal, just the interest. So we're not in a good spot. Now, one of the first comments comes to us thanks to Based Electrician, who says, quote, well, fellow Americans, are you Team Darude or Team Hawaii? It's a picture of Tim Walz with there's the lapel pin of the weak conquered Minnesota. 252 likes. You also have somebody, I know this guy, The Topping Show, and I have the gif of, what was it, the movie called Civil War? The guy goes, what kind of American are you? Getting 8 likes. You also have Sajisi Eteria saying, quote, Matt Walsh is absolutely correct. The left's grand diversity project has fully collapsed into the very thing they claimed to be above, primitive tribalism. They don't import voters, they import ancient feuds and balkanize our cities. This is a predictable result of replacing American identity with the failed multicultural experiment. They made our elections a farce, getting 81 likes. Deplorable gentleman says, POV, you're white Republican in Minneapolis. And the one white guy says, at least I'm not Nazi. And he's surrounded by Indians as well as Muslims. And 406 likes and Somalians. Chicken Waffle, interesting name, says, careful there, Matt. Caring about your own country is anti-Semitic. There's a tweet from Ben Shapiro, which, okay, guys, this is brought to us by ExpressVPN. Go to ExpressVPN. No one will spot on you, I promise. No one. Also, inflation is a thing, with every place the U.S. government keep printing more money. That's why I endorse Birch Gold. BirchGold.com, Ben Shapiro. I mean, that might be the worst Ben Shapiro impression here all year. Whatever this intent was made here, and I'll continue it saying, and this is Ben Shapiro's quote from June 16, 2017. He says, quote, and by the way, I don't give a good damn about the so-called browning of America. Color doesn't matter, ideology does. Okay, folks? Okay, I had the okay, folks at the end, but you get the idea. That got 264 likes. Which again, I think Ben's right in terms of ideology and the belief of, the founding fathers and the values of their country. I don't care what you look like. As long as you believe in the founding fathers, believe in the things that make America great, made America great, that's what matters most. Shared language, shared culture, shared values, shared ideology. Not seeing that so much these days. And again, that used to be a thing back in the day with assimilation. My family came here from Cuba. Y'all learned English, loved it, got the American flag, and they learned about the founding fathers and learned why the United States is the best country on the planet. All patriots. I Love American News says, quote, it's going to get worse, and says no country can survive being ruled by people who hate it. There's a bunch of the Democrats. Got AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Obama, as Trump would say. Then you have Bauer and Zoran getting 67 likes. Slappy McNucks says, welcome to Minneapolis. And say, thanks for the movie with Captain Phillips. He shows the Somalian pirates getting 20 likes. I'm the captain now. Which every time I see it, I've only seen previews of that movie or clips of that movie. That's like the one line everyone knows. Let's see. Defamation League has a picture of the goose or the goose meme. And the goose looks suspicious. And it goes, whose wars brought the refugees here, Matt? Getting 15 likes. The Camp of Saints says, what happened to magic soil prosperity, the melting pot, civic nationalism, and everyone rallying around the flag and Constitution? You have Ben Shapiro dressed up in a bunch of Israel swags and, quote, identity politics is stupid and racist. Okay, guys. Identity politics is stupid and racist. Okay, guys. And he's standing above the Talmud, getting 44 likes. Anglo-Saxon says, white nations are not sanctuaries for the world, getting 28 likes. Liam OK says, pray for Matt. There's a parody of Hassan Pike, or we have Ben Shapiro with the little electrical button zapping Matt Walsh, getting 14 likes. Trying to see if there's any contrarian statements. Not too many. Virgil says, Matt, please make a third film called What is American? I would argue this is definitely an issue of our time, getting 19 likes, which Matt Walsh, I think one of the main reasons he came to the cultural and political forefront, especially was his documentary, What is a Woman? That went viral, and I think that grew the Daily Wire numbers and subscriber base more than anything else they've done. Let's see. We also have Jordan Henry says, no different than Fuentes' tribal feuds from Europe, getting 9 likes and 17 responses. He was not ratioed. Thomas Anthony says, quote, this isn't about one election. It's the moment people realized that multiculturalism wasn't a promise of vibrant new foods and festivals, but an importation of ancient hatreds that now decide who governs them. This is the end stage of a failed ideology, getting 20 likes. Yeah. The Dissident West says, the inevitable conclusion of all liberal democracies, getting 93 likes, one of the most liked comments of all. Heartland Grump says, American elections are an illusion. Without voter ID and verified paper ballots, every election result has to be considered fraudulent. The MAGA movement has been fighting to save the country for over a decade now, but every victory will be fleeting without election reform, getting 20 likes, which, yeah, I mean, Minnesota, and that idiot Tim Walz signed into law, yeah, they basically said anyone can get an ID. Even if you're illegal, you can get a driver's license ID. Spoiler, in some elections there, the only ID they check, see if you can vote, is the driver's license, which again, anyone can get now. Yeah. More time, another instance of them telling us something that isn't happening is in fact happening. Let's see. Joel Berry simply says, good Lord, getting 191 likes. Mag says, honestly, it doesn't sound too different from what we have here between Republicans and Democrats. Democrats elected a man, Jay Jones, who wants his opponent's children to die simply because they're born into the wrong family. Getting 70 likes. Well, specifically, that piece of shit, Jay Jones, he texted someone saying he hopes his political opponent's children die because then his political opponents would actually change their political viewpoints around gun control, which is one of the most evil things someone could say. I want someone's children to die so they'll agree with me, politically speaking. And now that piece of shit is in office because Democrats, of course, elected him, which should horrify more people. Unfortunately, it does not. But let me know your thoughts because, as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have a 100-year-old World War II veteran in the UK breaking down as he sees the UK becoming a weak, conquered, totalitarian country, saying it wasn't worth it. Now, sparked us thanks to Good Morning Britain, and, well, his word is, he says it perfectly.
What does Remembrance Sunday mean for you? What is your message?
My message is, I can see in my mind's eye those rows and rows of white stones of all the hundreds of my friends and everybody else that gave their lives for what? The country of today. No, I'm sorry. The sacrifice wasn't worth the result that it is now.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
What do you mean by that, though, at this point?
What we fought for, and what we fought for was our freedom. We find that even now it's darn sight worse than what it was when I fought for it.
Oh, Alec, I'm sorry you feel like that because I want you to know that all the generations that have come since, including me and my children, are so grateful for your bravery and
bullshit. They're actually grateful, and they're allowing the government to become one of the most evil governments on the planet.
all that for service personnel. And it's our job now, isn't it, to make it the country that you fought for. You absolutely fought for.
Is it.
And we will do. We want to...
I'm so wonderful to know there are people like you that can spread the word around.
We will do.
Younger generation.
And I guarantee that everybody watching at home will be wanting you to send lots of love. We've got another little bit special thing for you, Alec. We've got the D-Day darlings here. Come on over, guys. You've got a little special present for him.
Ooh.
Come and give it if you can. To thank you for all your many brave years of service and others like you.
This is our album, Alec, and I know you love a lot of the songs on there. And this is the least we can do. This is such a small thing, but, you know, we love you so much, Alec.
And it's all signed for you there as
These
well.
young ladies are like my own daughters.
Heartbreaking. Because, yeah, the UK is a weak, conquered, evil government, country. Terrible place. They've devolved so much, become so evil. They make the novel 1984 by George Orwell look like child's play. The UK arrest civilians for tweets. they fine them for their speech. The UK, like the EU, is so weak and conquered, pathetic, and evil that when women and children are abused in the worst possible way, and they tweet about it, harshest punishment goes to the person talking about the issue, not the scum that hurt these women and children. People ask, especially these, for years I've been annoyed with these highfalutin Europeans saying, oh, what do you Americans need your gun for? Because we're not, so it doesn't happen to us. Unfortunately, it seems to be slowly happening in the United States. But again, we at least have a fighting chance, so it won't. In Europe, again, people are being abused. The worst, and I try to keep this moderately family friendly. It's a terrible place. It's one of the reasons they disarmed their people years ago. They barely have a chance to fight back. Again, you are fined for speech in the EU and Europe. It is a weak, evil country. I was about to say the people are weak. They've been conquered. The government is strong enough. They got their big thumb holding the people down. It's one of the worst places on the planet. And, I mean, he was fighting for free speech. He was fighting for human rights. Your right to defend yourself and your family. Your right to say whatever you want. They don't have those. Thank God the United States has the Second Amendment. Thank God we have the First Amendment. Our founding fathers, it's one of the reasons they're some of the most brilliant men in history. They've seen how evil, corrupt governments were around the globe. They wrote it down guaranteeing our rights. Even the United States, you have bullshit like the National Firearms Act of 1934. That makes it a pain in the ass to buy things like short-barreled rifles, short-barreled shotguns, suppressors, machine guns, destructive devices. While the governments have all the power they want, unlimited power, basically, unlimited firepower. And again, even the United States, as good as it is, there's still oppression with those types of regulations. When again, you look at who's done the worst things in history, governments. And they always disarm the people first. And one of the reasons the UK and the EU are so terrible these days is because of mass migration with no security. No security vetting. People are coming there. They're committing crimes against women and children. Was it 10x more versus locals? Sometimes 70, depending on where we're talking about the EU versus UK, at a dramatically disproportionate rate. Again, it's because I don't know if maybe that's why they disarmed people throughout the years, so they couldn't fight back against those types of things. Again, the EU is so weak and conquered and evil, they won't even let grandma have a pocket knife. That video went viral last year where the police officer confiscated a pocket knife from grandma. So again, of all the people who should have a firearm to protect themselves, I would argue especially should be women and the elderly. Who again, just physically speaking, will not be able to fend off a big, bulky assailant. And there's an age-old saying, God made man, but Samuel Colt made man equal, was the inventor of the revolver. Though nowadays, to make it more modular or more modern, perhaps we should say God made man, but Gaston Glock made man equal, who obviously made Glock firearms, or Glock pistols, one of the best pistols on the planet. And it's sad because you can see this guy's just crushed. Because he's seen what has happened. The UK is so weak and conquered, the police there told citizens to not wave the Union Jack, which I usually make fun of because it's rudimentarily pathetic design, looks stupid. But again, the police told them to take down their flag because the new locals that they mass imported in had their other country's flags, and police go, well, you might annoy them, you might make them upset. You need to take down your Union Jack. Your country's weak and conquered. You can't fly your country's flag? That's ridiculous. It's pathetic. You have police going knocking down people's doors for tweets and Facebook posts. I mean, it's sad. The world is becoming worse than 1984 by George Orwell, which I've referenced a lot on this show. And it should have been a warning, not a freaking roadmap or a playbook. And again, if you have kids, I'd recommend having them read Animal Farm by George Orwell. I'm so flabbergasted I can barely pontificate, much more than usual. But it's the same concepts as 1984. Again, Animal Farm by George Orwell. Same concepts as 1984, but the book is a little bit thinner. The spacing and the wording is much more easier to digest if you're a young adult reader, and you get the same important concepts, which is big governments usually they seem to always become evil, corrupt, and destroy the citizenry. And I think that's one of the reasons this went viral. Got 8.1 million views and 31,000 likes. And it's sad because he's seen what happens to his country. They become the very thing they claim to oppress. They became the very thing they claim to be fighting against all those years ago in World War II. Again, it's scary and soul crushing how bad some parts of the world are getting. And I really hope and pray it gets better soon. It's going to take a lot of good men doing a lot of hard things to make that happen. Now, one of the first comments comes to us thanks to John Sokolowski. It's a picture of a World War II veteran and modern policeman in the UK. And he says, quote, I sacrificed my life to secure this country's freedom and freedom of speech. And now you arrest people for words while turning a blind eye to crimes committed by invaders. You are a disgrace to your uniform and your insult to mine, getting 2.1 thousand likes. Anglo Sexton Scouser 94 says, we killed this. Looks like Hitler Youth. Says, for this, you have the mass migration, getting 6,000 likes. Meta Britain says, what do you mean by, or sorry, says, what do you mean by that thoughts? What do you think he means? Yeah, the reporter's a jackass, getting 5.3 thousand likes. And I apologize, I usually try not to have the vernacular be this bombastic or crass, but some of these things just grind my gears. Faz Favor says, David Irving was right. And David Irving is a quote, says, quote, if the British soldiers on the beaches of Normandy in 1944 could look forward to the end of the century and see what England has become, they would not have bothered to advance another 40 yards up the beach. And 3.2 thousand likes, and yeah. Malo Mothmold says, what do you mean by that then? I love how they ask while the newsreel lights at the bottom of the screen. Got 7.1 thousand likes. Russian Garbage Human says it wasn't worth it. And it looks like a picture from World War II. And the quote, though they don't say who the quote is from, says, quote, I sure hope it's worth it. I hope my sacrifice leads to gay rights, transgendered children, the normalization of sexual degeneracy, multiculturalism, and the eventual extinction of my race. Getting 3.2 thousand likes, which obviously is not a real quote. Bobby says, poor old chap, his words should shame us for allowing this to happen. It's time to fix the problem. Getting 7.7 thousand likes. You also have Glober says so many people die for nothing. And some British newspapers saying Britain scores Hitler's peace offer. Or scorns, Hitler's peace offer. No peace with Hitler. Chamberlain edict says Hitler offers peace plan. Britain scores peace offered by Hitler. Says Hitler gives final peace ultimatum. Getting 1.1 thousand likes. We also have I Stand Up to Marxism says this American World War II veteran said the quiet part out loud. Watch until the end. 55 seconds, but
Give me a gun, I'll shoot you, son.
Sounds like a Microsoft thing for a second there. So,
Here for the best, not for Trump. Here for the best, not for Trump.
Yes, just like you, sir. Yeah.
what's that fat? I'm sorry. It's a very there's an obese white woman saying we're all veterans just like you. Yeah, about that. No. And again, all veterans are heroes. Everyone has, again, especially in the Army, there's a lot of non-combat roles that are very important. Logistics and supply chain are the most important things when it comes to the war. That's how you win wars, they say. And there's some truth to that saying. But to say you're the equivalent to a World War II veteran, really? No, absolutely not.
Are you enjoying this country now?
No, because he's turning it the wrong way. Run for freedom of speech.
Let them have they say, it's okay.
Give me a gun, I'll shoot you, son.
No, it's okay.
It ain't okay.
Everyone's entitled to their
I
opinion.
fought for the freedom you guys enjoy.
Sir, I did the same thing. I'm a veteran, bro. It's okay.
I was with my daughter in the Pacific.
God bless you. Thank you very much, sir. I'm not going to flip out because that's their opinion. It's okay. They're allowed to have it. Let's show some love. Let's show some peace.
These are communist bastards. They're communists.
Hey, it ain't happening. Don't worry.
I'm not afraid. Give me a
Yeah, it is also heartbreaking to see how much socialism and communism continues to grow in the United States when, again, that's what we fought against. You also have, guy's name is just the Union Jack flag. And he says, quote, if the side that won delivered this, what good was winning? The fallen soldiers deserved more, far more than today. And it's a quote from one of the most respected generals in history, General S. Patton, says, quote, gentlemen, I've come this morning to the inexcusable conclusion that we have fought on the wrong side. The entire war we should have fought was with the fascists against the communists and not the other way around. I fear that perhaps in 50 years, America will pay a dear price and become a land of corruption and degenerate morals. which, yeah, I guess he saw the future. He had 1.5 thousand likes. So we have, let's see here. Surf says this is not the same. Let me see what this gentleman has to say.
And people don't realize what
I'm guessing, I don't know what war he served in, but he's a veteran.
and people don't realize what they have. They bitch about it. They do. And then nowadays, I am so upset that the things we did and the things we fought for and the boys that died for it, it's all gone down the drain. Our country's gone to hell in a handbasket. We haven't got the country we had when I was raised. Not at all. Nobody will have the fun I had. Nobody will have the opportunity I had. It's just not the same. That's not what our boys, that's not what they died for. It's just not it. Darling, I'm so sorry. I'll be all right. Just takes me time to get over it. Because why me? See, sitting here like this, see, all this going on. It's crazy. Listen, it's just, Emily, it's just not the same. That isn't what we fought for. Oh well. I should be worried about it, I guess. I'm 100 years old, they say.
That one will be
I'm
my
not,
fight.
I worry about it. Yes, I worry.
That will be my fight. Yeah. For sure.
Well, okay, you just remember everything's beautiful, and live every day to the fullest.
Wise words.
Just enjoy everything you possibly can.
I got 1.2 thousand likes. See here. Traditional Rebellion says won World War II, lost Britain. Is a refugees on a pontoon, not pontoon, some type of craft. It says you're not being tolerant, you're not being inclusive, you're not being open-minded, you're being conquered. In 1.1 thousand likes. Anglo-Saxon Logic says, quote, the foreigner interviewing him can hardly contain his excitement at the chance of deploying a gotcha question. What do you really mean by that? He means our nation has been sold out to invading third world hordes and foreign invaders. We fight all of our conflicts at the behalf of the United States and Israel. Game 4.4 thousand likes. Samantha Thompson says, quote, he misses when Britain was still a white country. This is a source from archive, so archive.ph.klera. Part of the archive, the UK was 99.9% white in 1951 and 0.1% ethnic minority non-white, which nowadays is probably 70% not white, at least by the videos we see. Gained 291 likes. Bobby says F. Aldi Ray, by the way, gained 2,000 likes. Jeez, dark humor. You have some boys from World War II, the trench warfare, and it's been photoshopped so they have their thought bubbles. This is credited to the white weatherman. And one says, I hope my grandchildren will become minorities in their own country. The other one they're thinking, I hope someday boys can be girls. And the other one is thinking, I can't wait for England's first Indian prime minister. Getting 517 likes. See, oh, this is terrible. Red Mango says, poor fella, glad my granddad got to pass away in peace and familiarity. General Patton was right. He says, I think it's Churchill actually. Listen up, lads. If Hitler gets his way, England won't be a safe place for North Africans to, well, again, I try to keep this moderately friendly, but it won't be a safe place for North Africans to rape your granddaughters, and it's not the kind of world my creditors want. Each of you must do your duty. Getting 664 likes. Let's see here. Trying to see if there's any contrarian statements thus far. Not really. Someone has Lucky Teeter says this man's a Nazi. Is a picture of Ben Shapiro yelling, getting 223 likes. But yeah, it's sad how quickly the world is falling and how evil these governments are getting. And let me know in the comments. I don't know how I'll get better. One more. British Enjoyer says, I weep for his generation, gave their lives for us, only for the generations after to throw it away. In 1,000 likes, and Yeah, I think I think that's an accurate assessment of the situation and good comment. And we'll see if the UK or EU gets better anytime soon, but I'm pretty pessimistic. Let me know if you think that's possible and how do you think it'll happen. Let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Toyota recalling about 127,000 vehicles because the engines might, self-destruct. That's brought to us thanks to Caleb Jacobs, who's a writer at thedrive.com. He says, quote, Toyota recalls another 127,000 Tundras and Lexus SUVs over self-destructing turbo V6s. Which, there's a Toyota Tundra right there. Now, they say, quote, just like with the last recall that has Toyota replacing more than 100,000 V6s, machining debris could potentially be found inside the engines. Jeez. Now, this isn't like a spinning hard drive or like a clean room in an IT environment. I don't expect these, manufacturing plants to be flawless, but again, with the same recall, more debris falling to the engine, really? Now, they say, quote, Toyota's twin-turbo 3.5-liter V6 continued to cause massive problems for the manufacturer and truck owners alike. The automaker recalled more than 100,000 Toyota and Lexus LX gas-only vehicles with that engine last July, agreeing to replace every single one due to leftover machining debris inside the power plants. Roughly now 16 months later, it's recalling an additional 127,000 units built between December 2022 and February 2024 for the same reason. Engine recall 25TA14 includes 2022 to 2024 Toyota Tundras and Lexus LXs, as well as the 2024 Lexus GS XUVs. They say the machine debris could potentially cause the engine knocking and rough running, plus no start conditions and sudden loss of power. A story that the late model Tundra owners are all too familiar with at this point, as the troubles have been reported on and most extensively ever since last year, which, I don't want to say I told you so, but yet another reason they should have kept the iconic V8 in the Tundras. The V6 is fine for the Tacoma, for the stick shift, obviously, awesome. But yeah, for a full-size truck, still disappointing that they moved away to the V6, or to the V6. They say Toyota is currently developing a new remedy for the issue. Replacing the good old Toyota V8, maybe? I'm only partially kidding, but wouldn't be surprised if the solution is more long block replacements. There was a time before that became the official recall remedy during which dealer techs were asked to, wow, this is labor intensive and a pain in the rear. Dealer techs were asked to disassemble the entire engine and replace the affected components, which, yeah, that's a fun job. Again, dealerships hate that because it's called a warranty rate, or the pay rate is a fraction of what they normally make on regular work on the vehicles. And again, they free the consumer, but the manufacturer Toyota is paying the dealerships for all this. Jeez Louise. They say that short block rebuilds continue to be a path forward for the Toyota hybrid owners who have suffered engine failures. Indeed, Toyota isn't including the hybrid models that feature the same exact V6s in these widespread campaigns, as supposedly because they have the electrical drive system to help them off the road in case of failure. These are voluntary recalls, and up to the point that NHTSA has not required Toyota to add the electrified trucks. Affected owners received notices from Toyota early January 2026, or just tune into the show where we usually have the recalls covered weeks or months before. And they say, that being said, several already reported being able to review the recall on their Toyota app, which, again, there's a lot of recalls in the automobile community. Again, vehicles have between 10 and 30,000 components. Understandably, there's going to be some issues. Maybe some, well, especially Ford, maybe some trim pieces fall off, or they just cheap out and don't get the nice 3M adhesive tape. But again, of all the things that could go wrong with the vehicle, the powertrain is the most expensive, complex, and important part. The engine, the transmission. And Toyota, I love them. They make stick shift vehicles. It's a rare thing these days. I especially appreciate that. But they're not known for like exciting, unique luxury vehicles. They're not known for doing crazy things too often, being really an exciting brand. They're known for one thing and one thing above all else: reliability. Again, consistently, the vehicles are known for hitting 300,000 plus miles in the odometer. They're, historically speaking, one of the most reliable companies on the planet. That's why they became the largest automotive manufacturer on the planet. Because people trust the brand, they trust the Toyota family, and historically, their vehicles have been darn near bulletproof. But again, to have yet another recall, and I'm so flabbergasted, it's the same damn thing with debris in the engine. I'm not expecting these factories to be clean rooms, but with the whole idea of Kaizen and the whole culture of constant improvement with the factories and the company, historically speaking, this should never happen, especially again. That is so asinine. Again, to have a company that's known for reliability to have the same issue yet again. And again, these were manufactured a couple years ago. But Toyota really does need to be on their toes because they're one thing above all else, reliability, getting more and more of these recalls. And again, this is the most profitable thing they make. They are making a lot of hybrids and some EVs. That's not where the majority of profits come from. They come from the traditional gas engine vehicles. Every company, well, except Tesla, they only make EVs, so they actually, to their credit, make a profit on EVs. Well, thanks to government subsidies, but nevertheless, average automobile companies make all their money from the gas engine vehicles. And if all the things they're known for, this would be it. So I would argue you should have twice the quality assurance to those most important, most profitable vehicles in your whole lineup. And to have the same exact recall again, I gotta say, Toyota, you are certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, try to get 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so you click that button. You really appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how to make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, anyone, everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.